Empowerment Show aims to equip individuals with the necessary tools, knowledge, and confidence to make informed decisions and take control of their lives. It also focuses on ensuring access to essential resources and the opportunities.
Good evening and welcome to Mental Health Mondays with Hope. My name is Hope. I am your host. And tonight we have with us Emily Lee and Jamie Hoagland. They are sisters of Melinda Hoagland, a preteen child, young child, who was tortured and did die at the hands of her father, their father, and his girlfriend. And as always, we discuss things on here that can be triggering or you can have a trauma response. Please remember that 988 is our nationwide mental health and suicide crisis hotline. Please reach out and also please utilize services in your own community. And as we say, I guess it's time to get uncomfortable. But before we start that, you know that this is something that we do on Mental Health Mondays, and it's a homework assignment for all of you out there, is to remind yourself daily something positive about yourself. And the way I've done it, ladies, is I've written it in lipstick on my mirror. And gentlemen, you can, let's use lipstick. Totally, I'm cool with that. You can write it on the refrigerator door, put it on the dashboard of your vehicle. And we're going to start out with a positive affirmation. So it is, I am what, Emily?
I am compassionate.
Yes, you are. And how about you, Jamie?
I would have to say I am strong-minded.
Good. They're both great and they're both very accurate. So thank you for, having the time to think a little bit about that. And I hope you both start your days with positive affirmations. So for today's segment, we're going to break it down into some different topics. And we're going to start with, first, we're going to learn a little bit about Melinda and about the actual situation itself and where we stand right now. Now, everyone out there who is watching, please know that this is ongoing. So there will definitely be certain things that Emily and Jamie can talk about when it comes to the legal process and things that they cannot talk about. We do have our phone number for the studio. If anyone has positive words of encouragement, 908-899-3089. So why don't you ladies just tell us a little bit about Melinda? Who was she?
Melinda, as a wholesome, was a very bright spirit. Melinda would fill up a very dark room with just her energy. There's no way that you couldn't smile around her, She was just so happy all the time. Even when she was grumpy, it was adorable.
Anything else?
I just love to play and to think on the fact that she was a light and someone that you would inspire yourself to be.
Okay, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. And when is her birthday?
July the 4th.
And I know that there's something that she used to kind of say about the fireworks. What's that?
When she was growing up, she was told all the fireworks going off was for her.
That's cool. I like that. And that speaks to her spirit. That really does. Yeah. So that's very cool. I like that. So there are probably people watching who are not familiar with this case. So I'm going to have you guys kind of go into that a little bit. And I know, when things happen that are tragic, we always tend to remember what we were doing when we found out about it, whether it was for me, I'm older, when the Challenger exploded or 9/11, we tend to remember exactly what we were doing. Tell me a little bit just about that part of it. When you found out that your sister was no longer with us, what was your thought? What was your thought? What were you doing? What was your reaction?
So I will take the lead on this one because I was the one who answered the call first. It was about 5 o'clock in the morning, and I was sleeping and woken up by my husband, who said that someone kept calling my phone. When I had answered, and my paternal grandfather was on the other end, letting me know that my sister had passed. And my instant gut reaction was, well, I need to get a hold of my other two sisters. I knew instantly that, that was I felt as though that was kind of my natural role to do. I wanted to make sure that I could get Jamie to my house before I could tell her, so she was not driving after the news. And unfortunately, with the distance between our homes and Abby's home, we would have to tell her over the phone.
Right. Right. And you take on that responsibility because you're the oldest of the three, correct?
I am. Yep.
Mama bear. I know I'm the oldest girl, so I get it.
Yeah.
So you found out that your sister passed away, and you notified your other siblings. And now, I mentioned in the intro that it was your dad, your father, and his girlfriend. And so everyone understands, your father and your mother are divorced.
Yeah. Yeah. So our father and
Long time.
mother divorced. Yeah. For a very long time. And he had met Melinda's mother.
Okay. Okay. Where is Melinda's mother in all of this?
I don't believe that we should touch on that. She is, she does have multiple sclerosis, and it impairs her to an extent, but we're going to leave it at that.
Sure. Basically, that's why your dad had custody of Melinda, I guess, is basically where I was going.
Yeah, my dad had primary custody.
Okay. Gotcha. So after you told your sisters, what happened? What happened next?
So Jamie actually realized that she also had a missed call from my paternal grandfather, and chose to call him back first before she called me back.
Gotcha.
So I was unable to tell Jamie. Jamie knew before she was with me. And then I do believe Jamie told Abby.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I woke up same way. I guess we're all heavy sleepers. I was woken up telling me that my phone was being blown up. And then I did see who called me, and I did choose to call him first because I actually had a message from him, told me to call him.
Okay.
So I did choose to call him first. He told me the bike story that everybody knows about how she hit a tree on a bike. I wanted more information. I wanted to know who else knew this. So that's when I hung up with him and called my grandfather on my father's side and asked him what he was told. And he got the same story. And then we actually ended up getting my father on the phone together. And the same story. She hit a bike. She's no longer with us. And then I hung up on him and then went to Emily's house.
Okay. So tell everyone again, because like I said, there are going to be people watching that aren't familiar. Tell everyone what it was initially that you were told about how Melinda died.
So we were initially told that they were at a campground. She did have a physical accident during the day at a pool there. And then that she had crashed her bike into a tree and was rushed to the emergency room.
Okay.
And had passed in the emergency room.
Okay. So that was the story that you were told?
Yeah, correct.
What really happened? And when did you find that out?
What really happened was our sister had been starved and brutally attacked physically and mentally over the period of a few years, which ultimately ended in her internal organ system shutting down. She had multiple broken bones and bruises, and her body just stopped fighting.
Right. Right. And I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. I'm so sorry. So sorry for your loss. So sorry for
Thank
everything that
you.
you guys are going through. I admire your strength, your tenacity. But no one deserves to die like that. And certainly the people who are left behind are left with a big hole and a lot of questions, a lot of questions. Um, and I don't know if you can answer this. Did your father ever admit to this?
We don't. No, we had very limited conversations with our father after he has been arrested, and to our knowledge, he still pleads not guilty.
Okay. Okay. But the district attorney is involved, correct?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
And what has the district attorney shared with you that you can share about the case? Or, I mean, you've had pre-trial already, and what has come up in pre-trial? So that's public record.
So because they waived their rights, they want to go right to trial. They're not going to plead guilty to anything at that time. We didn't have much of it. It was like a 10 to 12 minute hearing. And we've been in what they call discovery phase ever since.
Okay. Is there a trial date?
There's not.
Not
Okay.
currently.
I'm asking because that was one of the questions that someone posted, on the Mental Health Mondays Facebook page. If you're not on it, it's Mental Health Mondays with Hope. It's a Facebook page. There's a picture of a sunflower because the sunflowers always turn toward the light. And if you are not on the Justice for Melinda Facebook page, Melinda is spelled Malinda. You'll see it right underneath Emily and Jamie's name on the screen. So please join them, join us, and learn as much as you can. Because there's lots of things that could have been different here. So I know that in the past, there have been questions to you all as the sisters. Was how didn't you know? Why did you not know? And I mean, clearly you didn't. So share with us, how that was possible that you didn't know. And that's not that's not an attack. I mean, there's very valid reasons why you didn't know. So can you share that?
Yeah. So I personally, when I had found out that he was with the girlfriend that he, partook in this crime with, I voiced my opinion because I knew that she had had a prior history of child abuse. And at that time I was just like shut down and told, at first it was, we don't talk about that, people change. And then after a short while, I played with that a little bit. That's fine. And I saw some things that made me feel uncomfortable. So I said things to my dad. And I was completely cut out at that point. And that was about 2020, in the beginning of 2020.
Okay.
And then,
what about you, Jamie?
So I actually lived with my dad, I want to say 2019 into 2020 with Melinda when he got primary custody of Melinda.
Right.
I moved out during COVID because I believed in COVID. He did not.
Gotcha.
When I moved out, he moved in with Cindy and with Melinda.
Okay.
I noticed what happened between her and his relationship when she brought up Cindy. So I kind of left the past in the past where he requested it to be. Plus, it's public knowledge that she had a younger son with her at this time. And he was doing fine. He was thriving. There was nothing wrong with him. So, okay, people change. People change all the time. So I moved on with keeping minimum contact as much as I could, text messages, phone calls. I sent Christmas presents, birthday presents every year. And then I moved to California and then finally came back. And that's when I first saw her again, was in May of 2024. May of 2024. Nope. No.
2023.
2023.
Yeah.
May of 2023. And that's when I saw her at the hotel and everybody was asking, like, didn't you see anything there? Well, she was under a big blanket. Who am I to tell a little kid to get up?
Right.
Like, I'm not going to force her to get up. And then we obviously knew what happened in May of 2025.
Right.
So
2024.
But at that point, when you saw her in the hotel room, I mean, did you have any reason to suspect? Was she acting differently? Did you have any reason to suspect anything?
no, I mean, she was always a shy kid. So I
Mhm.
expected shyness when I came back into her life because I was just on a screen from time to time.
Right.
So of course there was that shyness there, but I didn't see any other, or, I would have mentioned something. I would have
Absolutely.
raised that red flag.
Sure, sure. So, Melinda passed away in May of 2024, correct?
Correct.
And she had been pulled out of school. When did that happen?
So she was pulled out of brick and mortar school in January of 2024.
And was what she was put in cyber?
Yeah, she was. She was put
Okay.
into CCA, which is
Okay.
like a cyber charter school.
Yep. Hmm, hmm. And I just want to remind the listeners again that some of the things we talk about could be very sensitive, and please make yourself aware of resources 988, and also take care of you. Take care of you. Was there suspicion from the school, the brick and mortar?
So there was from our understanding, there was a call into Pennsylvania's Childline. However, that call didn't make it any further.
Which is not good, because that's a service that we should be able to rely on. And you're certain like somebody didn't go out there and just dismiss it, or it literally just never went any further.
So the referral came in, and from our understanding, which is also public knowledge, is that they called my father, and I believe they also spoke to Cindy rather than a physical visit.
Yeah,
to the
but
home.
it was all over the phone. It was never
Gotcha.
there at the house.
In person. Okay.
Right.
Okay. But now, even when Melinda was going through, how long did you say this went on for, the torture?
So the DA has digital evidence of which they are charging them for accounts all the way back to 2021.
Okay. Wow. So 3 years, give or take.
Correct. Yeah,
Give or
but we do believe that it started to get extremely severe after she was pulled from brick and mortar.
Right. Right. I think, I don't know if it was speculation. At one point we had a conversation that potentially she was pulled from brick and mortar, so no one would notice.
Yeah, which they were noticing, that there were injuries of all different degrees and healing phases. Also, she was, from our understanding, allegedly hoarding food.
When you say hoarding food, do you mean like school food, lunch food?
Yeah.
Like in her locker.
In her locker.
Okay. And she had lost weight.
She had lost a significant amount of weight. Yeah, she was 50 pounds when she passed.
Right, right. Which at the age of 12, correct?
12, yeah.
12. And, no child at the age of 12 should be 50 pounds.
Absolutely not.
No.
Right, right. And, it's sad. And I know that you guys, you're doing a lot of work with Justice for Melinda. Tell us a little bit about what do you want to accomplish? What is the goal of Justice for Melinda?
So we're looking to create a registry, basically copy and paste of Megan's Law, to just keep a registry and tabs on prior offenders, so that when things like a Childline call or referral is placed, there's a red flag that's raised that you are dealing with somebody who's previously convicted.
Right.
Or if a 911 call gets placed and police respond, to something, a domestic dispute, to a home there's a prior offender. They know there's a prior offender and should probably
Gotcha.
assess those children that are in that home as well.
Right. So, and I apologize. Let's take a step back, because your father's girlfriend had been convicted of crimes against children in Monroe County, Pennsylvania.
Correct.
And
yes.
the incident with Melinda happened in Chester County, Pennsylvania.
Correct.
And so the school, like, they didn't have any information. Matter of fact, they didn't have any contact information for Melinda's biological mother. It's really things like this, not just in your case, slip through the cracks. And what you all want to accomplish is huge. And I know I have someone who personally worked on Megan's Law, who it was not an easy task. And I know that you all are up to it. And I know that you're pulling lots of people in. So what I am going to do right now is I'm going to challenge everyone who watches this, whether you're watching it right now live or whether you watch it on our YouTube channel at the PA Empowerment Network, is copy and paste the link, send an email to your legislators and tell them that they need to watch this and they need to make something happen, because we do need the laws changed in order to protect children. So if you're not in Pennsylvania, that's okay too, because to the best of our knowledge, correct, there are no laws like this in any state in the country. Is that true?
There are similar laws that kind of touch on what we want to do, but there are no certain copy and paste of what we want.
Okay.
We just started a petition.
Okay.
If everyone and anyone could please go and sign that. It's on change.org, and it's just change.org/Melinda's Law PA.
Okay.
And
this information's on your Facebook page and also your web page?
Correct.
And the web page is
Justice for Melinda InSync.org.
InSync, like the band?
Or like INC.
Okay. Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Oh, it's incorporated, isn't it?
Inc.
Oh,
yeah.
my bad.
So it's Justice for Melinda, MALINDA, Inc. INC.com.
Yes, .org.
.org. See, I already messed it up. Let me try that again. Justice for Melinda, Inc.org. And the
You muted yourself.
No problem. Oh, hello, we're back. I believe you also shared it on the Mental Health Mondays with Hope page today, correct? Am I correct?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So we definitely want people to sign that. I mean, we know that those petitions are not the end all be all, but that gets noticed. So I am challenging everyone who is watching this, no matter what state you live in, send it to your personal legislator, your senator, your state representative, and tell them you want a response. Acknowledge that you're receiving is that you watched it, that you recognize that there is an issue, that children are getting hurt, children are dying at the hands of individuals who have previously been convicted of crimes against children, and it's not being handled. But I know that there are some other things that I know that's the primary focus, but I know there are some other things that you're working on with Justice for Melinda. What are those? Education? What else are you working on?
Yeah, so Justice for Melinda kind of is breaking down into 3 sections. The first one is what we call awareness tables, or awareness and prevention. We are currently in communications with community events to have awareness table, to have information about Childline, information about signs of child abuse and how to prevent it. And then another goal is giving back to the community. you know, we're not here just to take and take. And a lot of people say that, like, we're just in it for just the whatever comes with it. No, we're not here to just take. We also, once we are able to, we want to give back. You know, because somebody who had the power could have given my sister an outlet, could have given my sister that one red flag that rose so high that everybody saw it. You know what I mean?
Right. And that's true. I mean, you know, I'm involved in youth sports, and, you know, there are times when coaches or youth group leaders learn things, teachers learn things that have been hidden by the families. And it's always good to have an outlet like that. Even if it's just for a few minutes of normalcy for the child.
Right.
And you're a big proponent of calling Childline, correct?
Correct.
And I know you said, I've heard you say it before so beautifully. Give your reasoning. Like right now, you're talking to just some individuals, and tell them why it's so important and what they should do about calling Childline. When should they call? How should they do it?
I mean, you can call Childline for anything. Please, if you believe that there's something going on with any child, let the investigators do the investigating. It is their job to be the ones to see it from start to finish. If you don't report it anonymously, you can always call back and get an update on your referral. But it is so important to intervene. And if you feel better doing it anonymously, you can certainly do that. But just pick up the phone. Pick up the phone. You can save a life.
And if you feel a child is in immediate danger, obviously call 911.
Call 911. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And just a reminder that, you know, coaches are, and youth leaders are mandated reporters. You know, we have to take the training. It's a state law that, you know, that we're mandated reporters. So if you coach sports, youth sports, and your organization has not gotten that mandated reporter training for you, please talk to the head of your organization, because of the amount of time that you spend with children, you are considered a mandated reporter. And what that means, if you're not familiar with the term, is it's your responsibility to report any suspicion of child abuse to Childline. Do you have any upcoming events with Justice for Melinda?
We do. We have a few. Our local fire department here in Bangor, Pennsylvania, is doing a carnival, and we're going to have a table there. Along with National Night Out. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that, but in Pennsylvania, all the counties do National Night Outs. We have a few events we're going to with those. Just trying to push child abuse out there.
Right. And what's the date? What's the date on National Night Out?
August 5th.
Okay, thank you. And the carnival?
Is next week.
Yeah,
the 11th.
The 11th, 12th, and 13th.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, I saw one of your TikTok videos, and it was a cat, and it broke my heart because I'm an animal lover. And I apologize, so I'm paraphrasing, but it was pretty much how do we tell him that, you know, she's not coming back? And that really broke my heart. And, you know, that was one of the things that I wanted to talk about as we start to segue, unless I've missed something that you want to talk about, either about Melinda, the case, or Justice for Melinda. Is there anything we missed?
I don't believe so.
I don't think so, no.
Okay. Actually, I have another challenge for everyone, because we did talk about July 4th being Melinda's birthday, and that's Friday, next Friday.
Mm-hmm.
This Friday?
This Friday.
Oh my gosh, it's this Friday. Whew, where's the time go? Melinda would be 14 this July 4th.
Correct.
And I have a challenge for everybody that's watching. And you know what? Even if you watch this video after July 4th, can you spare a $14 contribution to Justice for Melinda in honor of Melinda's 14th birthday, that she is not here with us to celebrate, but she'll be looking down and smiling on us. The Venmo, right, is the @ symbol, Justice for Melinda. and it's MALINDA. So that is my request. If you're able to, if you are not able to contribute $14, maybe just whatever is possible, forego a cup of coffee and one of those, fancy schmancy cups of coffee, and help these gals out on their mission, because it's, it does cost money. I mean, sometimes you have to pay for information tables, you have to pay a setup fee. I mean, I know that you get free things given to you to hand out, like, about the different child abuse programs through the state and county and what have you. But, there's printing costs involved. So there's lots of things like that needs to be taken care of before you can get to the point where you can give back to the community. So every dollar, I'm assuming, counts, correct?
Everything. Correct.
Right. And even if you can't donate, we do have a GoFundMe on the Facebook. If you would just share the GoFundMe, maybe it would reach somebody that could give that $1 or $2.
Right. Absolutely. And please share this, share this video, share this podcast, because the more people that see this, everyone has a different group of friends, so please share this and get the word out there, not just, about Melinda, because I know that there are other situations like this. Is there any that come to mind that you're familiar with that has come up while you've been researching?
So just a couple months after Melinda's passing, there was a set of twin boys that were in Macungie, which is close to our home, and pretty much the exact same mirror situation. Other than I don't believe either the mother or the stepfather had prior history, but it was the exact same thing as far as, physical, making them do physical work, the significant weight loss, the homeschooling, everything like that. There was a little girl, and I cannot remember the county, but she was about an hour from us, but still in Pennsylvania. She almost the exact same thing. Her mother gained full custody of her, and she was found in their trailer the exact same way. The exact same things happened. All of that evidence is also digital. And then there was a little boy, both the teens, I think they were about 15. The girl that I just spoke on, she was 13. And then there was a 3-year-old, I believe, down near Philadelphia, that almost the exact same situation.
Right. And as you're describing this, you're saying, they've had some weight loss, they've had some, bumps and bruises, they got pulled out of school. I mean, that can happen. That in itself can happen anywhere. My daughter homeschools. So, that in itself is not a red flag. And anyone can, all you have to do is Google, Melinda Hoagland, and you can probably read all the affidavits. But we're talking about a young girl who was shackled and chained to a table during her online homeschooling session. Is that correct? That was in the affidavit?
Yeah.
So,
that's in the
and this is not, I mean, this is serious. Obviously it's serious. She died.
Yeah. This wasn't, just like your child's losing a few pounds or you're homeschooling. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with homeschooling your children, but when you pull your children out of brick and mortar school and now, they may be lacking in their online school, they're losing a significant amount of weight. You are beating them, you are starving them. When I say all these stories have similarities, that's what I'm talking about.
Exactly. And I apologize. And I didn't do that for shock value. I did that to show the severity of this. And when you say, because I know that you're only going to be sharing situations that were very, very similar. So now that was 5 other children who, probably had been tortured over a period of time, just like your sister was. And that's an incredibly horrible way to live. And then die.
Yeah, they were the stories that I just shared, they either did pass or were a few days away from passing.
Yeah, it's just, It's terrible. We need our legislators to do something about this. You know, that you are living proof of the phrase that was coined in the late 60s, that the personal is political.
Yeah.
You know, that this is something that happened in your personal life. And so many, especially in how we're living right now, the society we're in, it just seems that people aren't getting involved with things unless it does happen. I'm not saying this about you guys, but just the way things are right now in our society. Oh, well, that didn't affect me, so I shouldn't be concerned about that. But this could be your neighbor. Did
Yeah,
they have
I mean,
neighbors?
They did have neighbors. They did. And you don't, growing up, I don't want to say we were like naive or blind to it, but when it hits home, it hits home, and you don't know if it will or when it will. You
Right.
can be completely blinded of what's going on, and now all of a sudden it's in your lap.
Yeah. Yeah. Where do you see the Justice for Melinda movement in 5 years?
Oh, I would love for it to go national.
Right. That's a major goal with the Melinda's Law, is to go national. Everybody in every comment, we see all the videos everywhere. We read all the comments, and everybody's like, well, why is this only a Pennsylvania law? Why is this only a Pennsylvania? Why not national? Well, we want to make it national.
Right.
There's stepping stones.
Sure. You have to start somewhere. Hey, unless we get, someone from Congress that, that's got a fire lit under them. So let's send this video to everyone. Send it to every elected official. Send it to their TikTok. Send it to their whatever, accounts, and follow up. They might have a staffer watch it, but hopefully if you're the staffer watching this video, go back to your boss and tell them that we need this. We need this. It took a while to get Megan's Law. Now we need Melinda's Law. So how are you all doing? How's the family doing? How are you, meaning just the three of you? How are you doing?
I think we're all at different stages of healing. I think that there are a couple, or just we've got through the nitty gritty. And that we're only in this time period for so long, because this is nowhere near over, so
Right.
we have our emotions that we have now. However, we may get a call tomorrow or next week that we're scheduled for trial, and now the ball's rolling, and we all are trying to stay mindful that we are three independent individuals with three independent feelings, three independent paths of healing. And we're just trying to respect each other's space when we need it, or pull close when we need it.
Right. And there's been some tension, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. And there's also been healing and bonding. So
Yeah.
It is a whole process. And like you said, everyone goes through it at different times and different phases. And, the one thing that I will say to you as a grief counselor is you just have to live it. You have to live the grief. You have to walk through it to get through it. And the fact that you all have the cognizance to recognize that everybody's going to be going through it differently, and somebody could be having a really bad day, or somebody could be laughing at everything, and you might be having a bad day and you'd be like, how are they laughing at everything? Our sister died. And it is all in the way everyone grieves differently. And I love to see that you have, an understanding of that. How has this affected your lives?
Personally, I'm very on my laptop working on Justice for Melinda 24/7. I'm up to all hours of the night. I'm, it's definitely a big part of my life now. I've definitely pushed some things like that I normally would do away, because I just want to make this so important to myself. Like this,
Right.
like we need to get this done. I don't want my neighbor 4 houses down to feel the way I do, because there wasn't somebody that was there to help. There wasn't somebody that was pushing so hard.
Right. I am going to stress self-care, and I totally understand diving deep into something. I get it, but please balance it out with some self-care. because, that cliche saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. So you always have to take care of yourself first. And what about the extended family? Because, we think of a situation like this, it's not just you all. I mean, your father has parents, and Melinda had, aunts and uncles. And I think of Melinda's classmates, because I believe you said that Melinda's classmates were involved in an event. And I remember back to when my son Connor was in kindergarten, one of his classmates passed away, and it was from illness. So it wasn't anything. I mean, it was bad. It was tragic, but it wasn't something that's so traumatic. And, Connor's 26 now, and he still remembers that, and it still has impacted his life. And I can only imagine, these classmates of Melinda, how this is impacting them, and how it will impact them in the long run. Because, when we look at trauma, sometimes it doesn't surface for a very long time. So I'm wondering, how that's going to impact the classmates of Melinda. How is this going to impact your children as they grow up? How is this going to impact parenting? So, I mean, there are so many factors involved. Emily, how much do your children know about what happened? Because they're young. How old are they?
They are young. I have boys, they are 10, and then I have a daughter who's 7 and a 2-year-old. Obviously, my 2-year-old doesn't know anything. However, my bigs, they know. They in the beginning saw a lot of emotion from a lot of people. And of course, that led to questions that I parent very openly. And my children do understand that there is evil in the world, and that evil can come out of somebody who is very close to you. They
Right.
weren't around my father all the time, but they definitely knew that they had a pappy. They knew who Melinda was. So they know that it was a death because of child abuse. They don't know the itty bitty
Sure.
details of anything. But we've had conversations with them that, if your friend is doing this at school, it's okay to say something if you feel comfortable. If you, whatever it may be, whatever it may look like to them, we have that conversation. And they've gone through mourning themselves. They watch mom have a lot of emotion, and
Sure.
they need to understand that that's okay. And they also feel their own emotion.
Right. You're doing such a fabulous job. And I know you have a huge support system. I mean, your mom and stepdad are awesome, and friends and family. I know that, you're both married, and, you have great partners who support this and are there for you and are involved. And that's tremendous. What can you say I mean, I don't know if there'll be children watching this, but what can you say to a child if they're going through something?
If they're going through something, as far as to the degree of Melinda, or even just an uncomfortability at home, to please seek an adult that you feel comfortable with. And even if you're not blatantly telling them what's going on with you, but giving subtle hints to someone who makes you feel uncomfortable at home, something that hurts at home. It shouldn't hurt to be a child. No one should be touching you. No one, to any degree, and anger does not need to be physical. There are other healthy ways to cope with things, that you don't need to ever lay a hand on another individual, or another individual lay a hand on you.
Right. Absolutely. 100%. And your Facebook page is Justice for Melinda, Malinda. Again, the name is spelled on the screen. And the website is justiceformelindainc.org. The Venmo is the @ or ampersand, Justice for Melinda. And, we want to help you guys financially if we can, because it does cost money to make these things happen. And you know that we want to make sure that you guys are doing okay through the entire process. So you'll keep checking in with us here on the show, right?
We will.
Absolutely.
And in real life as well.
Yes.
Anything else that you would like to add before we close out today?
No. Well, if we could press those signatures, because we feel very strongly about personally walking in our blue attire that petition to Harrisburg, we would greatly appreciate so.
Okay. So it's on change.org and it's Melinda's Law. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's change.org/Melinda's Law PA.
Melinda's Law
And it's
PA.
also pinned on our Facebook.
Yeah, it's pinned on our Facebook, and we can get it on the website as well.
Awesome. Okay. You guys are rock stars as far as I'm concerned. And
Thank you.
again, you know, it's something that no one should experience. I'm so sorry that you all are going through this. But you know, you have a village, and we'll make sure that people come through for you. We'll get that petition signed. How many signatures do you need?
I would like it to get up to like the 10,000 mark. That may be a big goal. But we're sitting just under 400 right now, and it's only been up for less than 48 hours.
Okay. All right. Change.org, Justice. Melinda's Law. Change.org, Melinda's Law PA. To sign the petition. Again, it is available on the Facebook page, Justice for Melinda. And it is also on Mental Health Mondays with Hope. You are here with us tonight on the PA Empowerment Network. I ask everyone to subscribe to our channel. It's free, it doesn't cost anything, and watch all the great shows that we have on here. Plus, you know, we'll be doing updates with this group, with these fine young ladies, and you know, we'll keep everyone up to date with what's going on. You know, I love you guys, and I wish you the best. And I'm always here. And we're gonna get those signatures. So thank you. And thank you everyone for watching. Please share this video. Like I said, you have a homework assignment. You have a challenge. Should you accept to choose it? It is email this to your elected officials. And I don't care if we send it, you know, like 20 people.